What are you bracing for in terms of how this global tumult could impact consumer behavior?
Yeah, Emily, well, it's a great question. It's a great point. I mean, we are navigating unprecedented times, just like we have the last couple of years. And there's a lot of uncertainty and concern out there for sure. I'd say from a Kohl's standpoint, we're staying very close to the customer. We've demonstrated we can be agile and resilient during this time, the global pandemic, supply chain issues and the like over the last couple years. And today is our Investor Day, and we got to share some really exciting news. I mean, as we look ahead, we have great confidence in our business, lots of growth drivers. I'm sure we'll talk about that, but we're also present to the fact that there is pressure. We have reflected that in our guidance to investors. We've taken note in our margin headwinds as it relates to things like freight and cost. At the same time, from a customer standpoint, we want to be really sensitive to the pricing pressures. I think one of the real advantages we have here at Kohl's is our brand portfolio, and we have aspirational, iconic national brands like Nike and Levi's, and we've got great entry price point brands that are private label. So we can meet the customer wherever they are. And like I said, we'll be agile and responsive. It's probably also worth mentioning one of the things we announced today is the next evolution of our loyalty program. So if you have a Kohl's charge, you get 7.5% back in Kohl's Cash, which our customers really value.
What do you think could be the biggest macro challenge for your customers? Is it inflation? Is it geopolitical turmoil? Is it supply chain challenges? And by the way, do you have factories in Russia?
So, we're a domestic company. Clearly, from a supply chain standpoint, that is the area that we pay attention to, as well as the inflationary pressures. I think it's hard to speculate in the midst of this, all the uncertainties with the consumer, and that's why it's so important for a business like ours that serves 65 million customers that we do put the customer first and that we understand them. But I think it goes back to, what is on their mind, how they're purchasing, and Kohl's serves America. I mean, 80% of America lives within 15 miles of a Kohl's. We serve lots of things that's really important to their everyday lives. As we shared with our investors today, this pivot into the active and casual lifestyle, how they're living today, moving into beauty. So these are all needs that we expect that they're going to continue to have. But like I said, we'll stay flexible and agile as we understand and navigate the current situation.
Kohl's has gotten a couple of unsolicited takeover offers over the last couple of weeks, and also just released a filing an hour ago that says your advisor, Goldman Sachs, is in talks with 20 potential buyers. Can you give us the latest on this and talk about how your plan addresses some of these investor concerns and some of this investor interest?
Yeah, you bet, Emily. So first, let me clarify the plan we put together and what we shared today with a lot more detail is something we, the board, the management team, really believes in and have great conviction that this is going to create tremendous value to our shareholders. And we have retained Goldman Sachs. We have a finance committee that's part of the board. I mean, our board is being extremely thoughtful and doing their fiduciary duty as we evaluate all opportunities in front of us. Yes, we have had engagement with roughly 20 parties. We've had some unsolicited bids. We've also done some outreach to make sure that we are doing our job as a board to evaluate these options against a very strong plan. And ultimately, all of this will be considered as we decide our path forward. But I'll end with, as we look ahead, we've guided growth for the business. We have game-changing ideas that we're pursuing, like Sephora, expanding active, even building 100 new stores. So we feel really well positioned. But like I said, we will evaluate all options in front of us.
You've said Sephora can become a $2 billion business. When do you see hitting that goal? And what proportion of sales do you see coming from digital versus on-foot in-store traffic?
Emily, we haven't put a very specific date out there on the $2 billion, but let's say it's in the medium horizon. I mean, we're in the midst of building out 850 shops. They're going to be a very big contributor. And to your point, digital will be a reasonable contributor to that. I mean, that's one of the advantages we have with such a strong omni-channel platform. And candidly, it was one of the reasons I think Sephora wanted to partner with Kohls, because we have such a strong footprint. It's convenient, it's off mall. We have a growing digital business. We're taking advantage of that omni-channel power with things like buy online, pick up in store. And we do that today with our stores that are open. But we're going to test an idea where we're going to do BOPUS leveraging Sephora.com, their site, and driving customers into a Kohl shop. And there's not that many examples. I can't think of one of companies that are doing that kind of cross-company BOPUS. So, I'm excited to continue to build out this business with them. It's a very big idea. And like I said, in terms of the growth, 1,200 stores, and we're growing our digital business to, looking to grow an $8 billion business from $6 billion today.